Walk into any Coles or Woolworths across Australia and you'll see an entire aisle dedicated to honey. Golden jars promising pure, natural sweetness. But here's what most shoppers don't realise. Not all honey is created equal. Some brands are bulking their products with cheap fillers, hiding behind clever marketing and charging premium prices for what's essentially sugar syrup with a hint of honey. Others have been caught in scandals that never quite made the evening news. In today's video, we're exposing 7 honey brands that Aussies should think twice about. We're talking about misleading origin claims, questionable ingredient lists, price deception, and quality concerns that'll make you read every label twice. And at the end, I'll reveal 3 honey brands that are actually worth your money. Plus, I'll show you the exact label tricks to watch for so you can spot these issues yourself next time you're shopping. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you might change how you shop forever. Now, let's kick things off with number 7. 7. A Lowry Pure Blend Honey, the budget option that dominates discount supermarket shelves, commonly found at Aldi and IGA. At first glance, it seems like a steal. Under $6 for a 500-gram squeeze bottle. The label says pure honey, and the price is hard to beat. But here's where it gets interesting. Check the country of origin statement. It reads, product of Australia and at least one other country. That vague wording means the honey could be blended with imports from anywhere, and you have no way of knowing the ratio. It could be 90% imported, 10% Australian, and still carry that label. Now look at the consistency. Pure Australian honey typically crystallizes over time. That's natural. But this stays liquid indefinitely. That's often a sign of ultrafiltration or blending with syrups that have been heat treated to remove pollen, which some experts say strips away the beneficial properties. At $3.20 per 100 grams, it's cheaper than premium brands, but you're paying for mystery honey with no transparency about its sources. The better approach? Look for honey with clear country of origin statements. Product of Australia means it's 100% Australian. Anything else is a blend, and you deserve to know what you're eating. But that's not the worst of it. Number 6 is even more concerning. 6. Capilano Aussie Bee, the colourful squeeze bottle aimed at kids, commonly found at Coles, Woolworths, and independent grocers. The front of the pack screams Australian, with its bright yellow label and bee mascots. Parents grab it thinking they're supporting local and giving their kids a natural sweetener. But flip it over. The fine print reveals, made in Australia from at least 51% Australian honey. That means up to 49% could be imported honey blended in, and you'd never know from the front label. Now, here's the kicker. At $7.50 for a 400-gram bottle, that's $1.88 per 100 grams. You're paying a premium for a product that's nearly half imported honey. Compare that to Capilano's own pure Australian honey, which costs about $1.60 per 100 grams and is 100% Australian. You're paying 28 cents more per 100 grams for a blended product, just because of the kid-friendly packaging. The ingredient list is just honey, which sounds good, but that doesn't tell you where the honey came from or how it was processed. For parents watching, you're not getting what you think you're paying for. The Aussie branding is doing heavy lifting to justify a higher price for a blended product. Look for honey that clearly states 100% Australian if you want to support local beekeepers and avoid mystery blends. Speaking of misleading labels, number 5 takes it to another level. 5. Beechworth Honey Creamed Honey, the spreadable version that looks artisanal, commonly found at Woolworths and specialty stores. The jar looks premium, the label talks about traditional methods and Australian provenance. It's positioned as a gourmet product and it's priced accordingly. At $9.50 for a 375-gram jar, that's $2.53 per 100 grams. That's double the price of standard liquid honey from the same brand. So what are you paying for? Creamed honey is just crystallized honey that's been whipped to control the crystal size, making it smooth and spreadable. It's a texture change, not a quality upgrade. You can make it at home by stirring crystallized honey. The ingredient list? Just honey. which means you're paying an extra $1.30 per 100 grams for a process that takes about 10 minutes of stirring. Now, Beechworth does source Australian honey, which is a plus, but the markup for creaming is hard to justify when you understand it's just mechanical processing, not premium sourcing. Here's the better approach. Buy regular Beechworth liquid honey at $1.20 per 100 grams. Let it crystallize naturally. Stir it yourself. You've just made creamed honey and saved over $1 per 100 grams. And if you think that's bad, wait until you see what's hiding in number 4. 4. Woolworths home brand honey, the store brand budget option, commonly found exclusively at Woolworths. It's the cheapest honey on the shelf, under $5 for 500 grams. At $1 per 100 grams, it undercuts almost every competitor. But here's what you need to know. The country of origin label says, product of more than one country, with no mention of Australia at all. That means this could be 100% imported honey, likely from China or other countries with less stringent quality controls. In 2018, an investigation by Fairfax Media found that some imported honey sold in Australia contained antibiotics and was adulterated with rice syrup. While Woolworths has stated their honey meets Australian standards, the lack of transparency about sourcing is concerning. The consistency is suspiciously uniform. It never crystallizes, even after months. That's often a sign of heavy filtration or heat treatment that removes pollen and trace elements, which some research suggests reduces the beneficial enzymes and antioxidants naturally present in raw honey. At $1 per 100 grams, you're saving money up front, but you have no idea what you're actually getting. No traceability, no origin story, just mystery honey in a plastic bottle. For anyone who cares about supporting Australian beekeepers or knowing where their food comes from, this is one to skip. Choose honey with clear Australian origin labels, even if it costs 50 cents more per 100 grams. You're paying for transparency and supporting local industry. But that's not the most deceptive one. Number 3 is where things get really interesting. 3. Manuka Health MGO 400 Plus Manuka Honey, the premium import with bold health claims, commonly found at Chemist Warehouse and health food stores. The label promises antibacterial properties. The MGO rating suggests potency. It's positioned as a medicinal product, and it's priced like one. At $55 for a 250-gram jar, that's $22 per 100 grams. That's 20 times the price of regular Australian honey. So what are you actually paying for? Manuka honey comes from New Zealand, where bees pollinate the manuka bush. The MGO rating measures methyl glyoxal, a compound that has antibacterial properties. That part is real. But here's what they don't tell you on the front. The Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia has stated that while Manuka honey has antibacterial activity, it's not registered as a medicine and should not replace medical treatment. Those bold claims about immune support and healing, they're not approved by Australian regulators. In 2016, the ACCC took action against several Manuka honey brands for making misleading therapeutic claims. The industry toned down the language, but the implied promises remain. Now, if you're buying this for wound care under medical advice, that's one thing. But if you're buying it as a daily health booster for your toast, you're paying $21.50 extra per 100 grams for properties that are primarily useful for topical application, not digestion. Australian Jarrah honey and some eucalyptus honeys also have antibacterial properties and cost a fraction of the price. At $8 per 100 grams, you get similar benefits without the premium import markup. The better approach? Save the expensive Manuka for first aid. Use Australian honey for everything else. Speaking of overpriced imports, number 2 takes the deception even further. 2. Squeezy Honey, the iconic yellow bear bottle commonly found at Coles, Woolworths, and practically every supermarket in Australia. It's been a kitchen staple for decades. The squeeze bottle is convenient. Kids love the bear shape. It feels nostalgic and trustworthy. But look closer. The country of origin statement reads, product of more than one country, just like the Woolworths home brand.
there's no mention of Australia. This could be entirely imported honey, blended from multiple countries. At $6.50 for a 375-gram bottle, that's $1.73 per 100 grams. You're paying 73 cents more per 100 grams than Woolworth's home brand for essentially the same mystery blend, just in a branded bottle. The ingredient list says honey, but with no origin transparency, you have no way to verify quality or support Australian producers. Here's what's particularly frustrating. Squeezy is owned by Capilano, the same company that sells 100% Australian honey under its own brand. They produce both products, but Squeezy uses imported blends while charging a brand premium. You're paying for the name and the bare bottle, not for quality or transparency. If you're watching your budget and want to support Australian beekeepers, switch to a clearly labelled Australian honey. You'll often pay the same price or less and actually know what you're getting. And now, the worst offender. Number 1. Pure and natural organic honey. The misleading label that sounds premium, commonly found at independent grocers and online retailers. The name alone does the heavy lifting. Pure, natural, organic. Those are 3 trust words that make you think you're getting the best. The label might show flowers and bees. It's positioned as a health food store product, and it's priced accordingly, often around $12 for 500 grams, which is $2.40 per 100 grams. But here's the problem. In Australia, there's no official certification standard for organic honey. Unlike the Australian Certified Organic logo, which requires rigorous auditing, many brands use the word organic without third-party verification. Check the label. If you don't see the ACO logo or another recognized certification body, that organic claim is unregulated and potentially meaningless. Now look at the country of origin. Many of these generic brands state packed in Australia from. Imported honey. That means the honey is coming from overseas, likely China or other low-cost producers, and being repackaged here with feel-good marketing. You're paying $2.40 per 100 grams, which is double the price of standard Australian honey for an imported product with an unverified organic claim. In 2020, Choice magazine tested several honey brands and found that some labeled as pure honey contained added sugars or were bulked with rice syrup. While specific brands weren't always named, the pattern was clear. Vague labeling often hides quality issues. For anyone trying to eat cleaner and support ethical production, this is the worst kind of deception. You're paying premium prices for marketing buzzwords, not actual quality. The better approach? Look for the Australian Certified Organic logo if organic matters to you. Choose honey with transparent Australian origin labels. Skip the generic brands with big promises and vague sourcing. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, do me a favor. Drop the number 37 in the comments. It helps me know you're getting value from these investigations. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Now that we've exposed the ones to avoid, it's time to shift gears. Because not everything on Australian shelves is trying to trick you. Here are 3 honey brands that actually deliver on their promises. Capilano Pure Australian Honey. This is the benchmark for transparency. The label clearly states product of Australia. That means 100% Australian honey, no blends, no mystery imports. At $1.60 per 100 grams, it's competitively priced and often on sale. You'll find it at Coles, Woolworths, and most independent grocers. The ingredient list is just one word: honey. No additives, no fillers, just what you'd expect. Capilano sources from Australian beekeepers and has traceability standards, which means the honey can be traced back to specific regions. That's accountability. It crystallizes naturally over time, which is a good sign. It means the honey hasn't been overprocessed or stripped of pollen. You'll find this in both squeeze bottles and glass jars, usually on the middle shelf. Check for sales. It often drops to 2 for $11, which brings it down to about $1.38 per 100 grams. If you want straightforward,
honest Australian honey at a fair price, this is your go-to. Beechworth Honey, pure Australian honey. Beechworth is a Victorian company that's been producing honey since the 1800s. The label clearly states, "Product of Australia," and they source from specific Australian regions, including eucalyptus and wildflower varieties. At $1.20 per 100 grams for their standard liquid honey, it's one of the best value premium Australian honeys on the market. The ingredient list is just honey, and the consistency and flavour reflect the floral sources. Eucalyptus honey has a stronger, slightly
medicinal taste. Wildflower is milder and more versatile. You'll find Beechworth at Woolworths and some independent grocers. It's often stocked in glass jars, which is better for long-term storage and reduces plastic waste. They also offer single origin varieties if you want to explore different flavour profiles, but even their standard blend is high quality and transparently sourced. For anyone who wants to support a regional Australian producer with a proven track record, Beechworth delivers. Leatherwood honey from Tasmania. This is a step up in both flavour and price, but it's worth it if you want something special. Leatherwood honey comes exclusively from the leatherwood tree in Tasmania's ancient rainforests. The flavour is unique, floral, slightly spicy, with a lingering aftertaste that's nothing like standard honey. At $3.50 per 100 grams, it's premium pricing, but you're paying for a single origin product with genuine uniqueness. The label clearly states, "Product of Australia." And because leatherwood trees only grow in Tasmania, you know exactly where it's from. The ingredient list is just honey, and it crystallizes naturally, which is expected for this variety. You'll find it at Woolworths, specialty grocers, and some health food stores. It's often in smaller jars, around 325 grams, which keeps the upfront price under $12. If you're a honey enthusiast, or you want something special for charcuterie boards or drizzling over cheese, this is the one to splurge on. For everyday use, stick with Capilano or Beechworth, but keep a jar of leatherwood for when you want to impress. So how do you spot these tricks yourself when I'm not there with you in the aisle? Here's your quick checklist. First, always check the country of origin label. Product of Australia means 100% Australian. Made in Australia from at least X% Australian ingredients means it's a blend. Product of more than one country means it could be entirely imported. Second, look for the Australian Certified Organic logo if organic claims matter to you. Without that logo, the word organic is just marketing. Third, check the price per 100 grams, not the shelf price. A 500-gram jar at $8 is $1.60 per 100 grams. A 375-gram jar at $7 is $1.87 per 100 grams. The smaller jar is more expensive, even if it looks cheaper. Fourth, watch for texture. Pure, minimally processed honey crystallizes over time. If it stays liquid forever, it's been heavily filtered or heat treated, which strips beneficial properties. Fifth, read the full ingredient list. It should say honey, or honey with specific varietals listed. If you see anything else, glucose, syrup, or additives, it's not pure honey. Sixth, ignore front-of-pack marketing. Words like pure, natural, and organic are unregulated unless backed by certification logos. The real information is always on the back label. Seventh, if you see health claims like boosts immunity or medicinal grade, remember that honey is not a registered therapeutic product in Australia. Those claims are not approved by the TGA and should be taken with a grain of salt. Look, the Australian grocery and retail landscape is full of marketing tricks designed to make you spend more while getting less. But when you know what to look for, you take back control. You vote with your wallet. And companies notice. If this video helped you see through the marketing, do me a solid, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Because the more Aussies who know these tricks, the harder it gets for brands to get away with them. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next episode where we uncover more hidden truths behind everyday Aussie products.